What's going on, guys? Welcome to my mix lab. My name is Henry Fong, and today I'm going to give you a run through of my song Boom with the Southern California reggae band, The Common Kings. I just want to give a quick backstory on this song. So I've been a fan of this particular reggae band for years, and we were just talking on social media one day, and they said, hey, let's get in the studio and make a song. I said, all right. So initially the plan was to write a song for their band, which could potentially be one of their releases or maybe go on their album or something. And so they hit me up one day and they said, hey man, can you record vocals somewhere? And for most of my stuff, I usually work in my bedroom studio and I don't really have the best equipment. So I actually called Reed Stefan, one of your other favorite teachers. And I said, Reed, man, I got this reggae band coming over. I don't have a studio to cut the vocals. Is that cool if we cut it at your house? And he said, yeah, come over. So the entire band, which is 4 guys, they came up there and they brought their songwriter, Kat Dahlia, with them. And we all went to Reed's house. And Reed was busy tracking the vocals. I was busy making the beat next to Reed. And the guitar player and one of the singers was in the back with the songwriter writing. So we kind of had this like 3-way system going on where one member of the band would come up and we would record them while I was making production, making synths, making drums and stuff, while Reed was tracking it. And then the songwriter was in the back, Kat, and she was writing the whole time too. So it was kind of a cool process. And then the bass player would come up, we would record the bass player, the guitar player would come up, we would record the guitar skanks. Once it was time for the vocalist and we had the whole song written out, then we went into the vocal booth and we cut the vocalist. After we had kind of made that initial session, it was more of an acoustic kind of song. It was more of a reggae song, and it just had drums, the bass guitar, the electric guitar, and the vocals. And there's very primitive beat that I did. It ended up kind of getting shelved a little bit, and I just stumbled across it one day, and I reopened the session, and I said, look, I'm just going to make this crazy. And so I redid the entire song, redid all the production, and I kind of made it a little more dance music friendly. So then I will go ahead and kind of play what we ended up with here. So I decided to take it a little more of a trap route. And you can notice about the song too, there's a lot of organic instruments going on, but it kind of smacks like a dance song. And I think what my job as a producer in this entire thing was I was trying to balance the band's vision with my vision at the same time and just trying to find that sweet spot where both of those kind of mix in the perfect world. So I guess that would be kind of a good place to start, is just kind of the first couple things we recorded in the first session. So let's just go into the guitars. I believe the guitars we recorded first. Mata is their guitar player. He's super dope. And we just kind of had him, we started with a basic chord progression. We had him just do the guitar skanks. Reggae is known for, we call it guitar skanks, and it's just that offbeat kind of strum, and we just kind of follow the chord progression. So I'll go ahead and I'll loop that real quick, just the first electric guitar. After we did these guitars, this is something I'm not really used to processing that much, so I kind of had to experiment with quite a few different plugins. I did know I did want it to kind of have that vintage reverb sound to it, so I'm using the Valhalla Vintage on that. I usually use Valhalla Room on most of my other stuff, but for this particular song, I thought the Valhalla Vintage was a good reverb to use on it. Also, the delay is very important. Oftentimes on a lot of the reggae songs, it has like a specific kind of dubby sounding delay. So we are getting that delay from the delay bus down here. You can hear it. And it's just a Ableton preset. Echo, it's called Dub Syndicate. I use presets a lot of times, just whatever sound I'm going for. So I probably just opened up Ableton's audio effects, and I just was scrolling through to see what would fit this kind of thing. And I came across Dub Syndicate, and I was like, hey, this is perfect. And I'm going for that dub, old school dub reggae effect, and listen to it. Just nailed it on the head perfect. So, I mean, guys, those audio effects are there for you to use, and there's plenty of good presets, so you can kind of find what you're looking for quickly. Also, in this guitar, the difficult part was to kind of just get that bite, because when you record just a plain organic instrument like that, you're going to have to do quite a bit of work to get that like super hard transient bite to it. The starting place I usually use with this is the Maserati, which is a Waves plugin. I use this Maserati guitar, so I'll play with it without. Listen without the Maserati. It's just like super dull. And then you turn on that Maserati, and it kind of just gives it that bite. It actually adds to the feels like it adds to the transient a little bit, but that's mainly with the presence knob. So I believe what setting is this? I'm not sure what preset this was within the Maserati, but it's on heavy, and then the presence is jacked up, and that's kind of how I got that bite. And I just have a normal multiband on here, a little width, and EQ, and then it's sidechained. The EQ, I'm just rolling off a bit of the top. You don't really need that 10,000 and up that much. It's a little more in the mids to kind of the higher mid section. And then this next guitar we actually recorded an acoustic too. And the idea, the guitar player wanted to, he did both of them, and we were just like, let's see which sounds better. And then we thought, like, let's just layer them, and it ended up kind of just adding a little more body to the whole sound. So we have these acoustic guitars going underneath the electric ones. Those just it has a little bit of a slap delay on it, and sometimes when you use a slap delay, that's almost like just like a little bit of a stereo whiting effect. If you listen to how mono this solo guitar is, without that, listen to how like mono plain down the middle it is, and then you add the slap. It just kind of gives it some body. There's a bit of an EQ on it too, so the highs are being trimmed off this one. We didn't want this one the main guitar. We just wanted that extra. I just wanted that extra volume, kind of by stacking the guitars in there. So it has a cool sound to it, but it's not really the prominent guitar there. And then it's also just jacked up with a multiband. I pretty much use that on everything. Not OTT, that's just the basic multiband. So, and then there's actually another guitar added on. So we have 3 guitars, and this is just another electric guitar that was actually a different guitar. We used the guitar that was in the studio, just the basic guitar, and then the guitar player went home and redid that with his own special guitar, so you can hear the difference. He went home and he recut it, and then we ran it through the same processing. So if you want to compare the difference, that was the first basic guitar in the studio, and then this is... We said, screw it, let's just stack them all together and layer them. So yeah, that's how we did the guitars. And then after we had the main guitar skanks down, we started writing a bass line. And this bass line was originally in the acoustic version, which was the first demo. Ivan, the bass player, sat down, and we were just screwing around, playing some riffs, and he kind of came up with this super, super funky riff, which I loved. I want to play it. Classic, funky, groovy reggae bass line. Absolutely love it. Bass lines like that in EDM, it's kind of difficult to work because it almost grooves too much. EDM, you just kind of want that straight bass sound that kind of, for whatever reason, that straight bass sound kind of impacts. So let's go over some of the processing on the bass guitar. I would say the OTT is doing the most. Yeah, OTT is adding a little more tone, and then on the EQ, the lows are bumped up a little bit, and then the highs are trimmed off. Actually, this is not actually a bass guitar. Let me actually make that clear. This is an acoustic guitar played with a bass line, and we pitched it down 12 semitones to give it a bass tone. So if you look at the how it's transposed here, we transposed at 12. We didn't have a bass guitar, so we said, how are we going to do it? And we just got crafty and decided to pitch down the original acoustic. You kind of can't tell. It's pretty cool. But sometimes you just got to improvise on the fly like that sometimes.